In the angelic ranking, in all of creation, only man could reveal the dimensions of God. And Lucifer had perceived these things, so he wanted to enter into it. I will exalt my throne above this. When a man walks in the presence, light will come to him. And when a man walks in the presence, he will interact with the fire that intensifies his spirit. And when a man comes into the presence, the fourth thing he will touch are coals. The coals are the purifiers. You see, there's a record of death in your soul. You grew up, you knew Jesus at the age of 20. Before you knew Jesus, you have been taught how to respond in anger. Anger has become your default mode. So even now that you have known Jesus, anger is still there. It doesn't vanish overnight. You were in a world of competition. Everybody trying to subvert the other person, subdue the other person. And so everything you are doing, you want to crush everybody to be the only one shining. It's in your soul. Even now that you know Jesus, you know it's not good. It's in your soul. Lust is in your soul. They've taught you iniquity, pornography, and immorality is too deep. And so when a young lady dresses well, if you look at her, some thoughts come to your soul. You don't know where they come from. Even the young lady thinks that for her to look beautiful, she has to be naked. Because she's taught beauty from the erotic perspective. Because the record of death is in the soul. And so what the presence of God does is that it deletes that record. That's the business of the coals. When you begin to interact with God, you will discover that a point will come where everything that is of death in you will start living. Naturally, you respond in anger. The kind of things that make you angry, you will now discover they happen, and instead of anger with the people, you feel compassion. You know they don't know better. How Jesus can be on the cross and say, forgive them. It means there's no death in his soul. The things that others see and they say, God help me, this is temptation. This, you will now see the people and you will weep for them. You say these ones are going to hell. You will go and be interceding for them. While other people are being tempted by naked girls. Hey, don't go there, don't go. You see them, you're overwhelmed with bodies. You are praying for God to deliver them. The reason is because that death has been deleted. And so in Isaiah chapter 6, he said when King Uzziah died, he said, I saw the Lord. And his train filled the temple. And something happened. He was ushered to the presence of God. And what he saw there was blazing holiness, purity of the highest order. Immediately, nobody asked him. He began to confess. That's a national prophet. Because a national prophet can still have death in his soul. He said, I'm a man of unclean lips. I dwell among unclean people. And the Bible said, one of the seraphims took one of the coals from the midst of the fire and touched his tongue. And he said, now your iniquity is purged. You know why we have many people who hide under the guise of humility, under the guise of righteousness, whereas their true nature is a wolf in sheep clothing? It's because they don't enter the presence. It's possible to be holy. It's possible to be pure. If it's not possible, the Bible will not say in Matthew 12:48, be ye holy as your heavenly Father is holy. It would have been a setup. That means it's possible. But the degree of brightness and illumination that will reflect to our world is the extent to which we stand in the presence. You cannot help yourself as touching death and iniquity. You can only be helped. And the way God will help you is that you appear before him always. He said, times of refreshing shall come from the presence of the Lord. When we come to God's presence, what it does is that it begins to purge us. Coals touch us and purify us and purify us. And so instead of struggling with that thing you are struggling with, come boldly before the throne of grace. There is a cure. There's an antidote. God knows your limitation. He knows how deep that addiction has entered your soul. He knows that every time you fornicate, you weep because you don't want to. He knows every time you take marijuana. He knows every time you sniff that cocaine, you die inside. And you have tried to exercise the strength of your flesh. You are defeated. The only thing that can happen is that you will stay in front of the coal until you are touched. When you are touched, that infirmity will be rolled away, and a new form of you will appear to your generation. All of those economies are put in the present so that all our work on earth will depend on God. That time will never come when we can exist without God, because there are infirmities that He constantly takes away. Those infirmities are the afflictions of the soul, and God is the one who purifies. And the way He does it is the technology of the coal. That's what Paul was talking about in the New Testament when he said, the Spirit of God Himself, in Romans 5:26, helpeth our infirmities. There are many infirmities. We don't even know how to pray about them. Even if we try to pray about them, we can't pray it enough. We don't have the utterance enough to fight in the Spirit until it's rolled away. Did you not read Zechariah chapter 3? A high priest had a stained garment. He knew all the oblation process, but he didn't have enough utterance to argue his case in the courts of heaven. Until a point came, he said, take off the filthy garment. Something has to happen, but for that thing to happen, you must stand in the presence of God. When you stand in the presence of God, the presence will x-ray you, and they will search out your infirmity and cleanse it, so that it will not bring reproach against you in the corridors of the immortals. Because if that is not done, those infirmities will be a curse, and it will be a testimony against you. And the devil, because of those infirmities, will stand by you to resist you. The reason the work and the ministry and the business and the life of many persons are resisted is because they are carrying infirmities. And they carry those infirmities, they are struggling in the flesh. What you need to do is to stand, wait for verdicts. Because you are in the era of grace and mercy. The verdict that will come will not be to kill you. It will be to roll away those infirmities. All of us have garbages. But it's when we stand long enough that those garbages will be taken away. If a national prophet will have a lying tongue, hope you know that the most important part of a prophet is his tongue. Because a prophet is a representation of the righteousness of God to a generation. When a prophet speaks, a nation repents. His sight is useless if there is no utterance. But here is a prophet corrupted by infirmity. He knew the secret. So the moment there was a window, he stood there until the seraphim showed up. And they touched his tongue. And they say, your infirmities have rolled away. The moment he left there, he began to prophesy about the Messiah. Because his primary calling was to be a messianic prophet. But he could not prophesy it with a lying tongue. Your destiny can't start until you are touched with the coals. There are most of you here who have apostolic calling. Even among your friends, they know you are a leader. You know the apostolic is forceful. When you walk among men, somehow you are head and shoulder above them. You are like an alpha male because you come with government. The apostle has the power to establish government. That's why I said the apostles come first. But you carry all of this energy and you cannot fulfill destiny because of patches of infirmities. Patches, stains of infirmities. There are many prophets that should bring deliverance unto Jacob, but their eyes are corrupt and their tongue is full of iniquity. They will need cure. They will need to be cured of those infirmities. And so beyond meetings, beyond popularity, you must learn how to wait upon the Lord. You must learn how to stand in the present until you are purged. This is why men like Elijah mastered that technology until Elijah is in the palace and he said, before God whom I stand. I know my authority as a prophet is by my ability to stay in the presence. That's where my infirmities pass. That's where my infirmities are removed. If you don't know how to tarry in God's presence, you will be a man of many infirmities, and the devil will have great harvest from your manifestation. In fact, if God wants to help you, he will not allow you manifest. Because some of the things that will happen to you, you cannot revoke it in your lifetime. Did you read about Balaam? The man was corrupt, but he never went to God to purge him. And so he started as an error. It became a doctrine. It became a way. And Balaam the prophet was killed like a thief because the reproach came upon his life and the prophetic honor was lifted. You will need your infirmities to be purged. And the way that will happen is that one of the government of the presence must impart you. And that government is the government of the coals of God. That coal will touch you and cleanse you. The fifth government of the presence is the waters. In Psalm 46 verse 4, he said, there is a river that flows from the throne of God. He said, the streams thereof make it glad, the city of God. When you find a man who knows the presence of God, nothing can break him. Some of the things that inspire me the most are documents of the early church. When I want to be set on fire, I go and look for scrolls of early Christians. The kind of Christianity they had, it will take a revival for us to experience that kind of Christianity anymore. You know, in the early church, they don't celebrate birthdays because your birth means nothing. They are interested in knowing how you died. Because these guys were not interested in how you came. They want to know how you exited. What is the witness you left for your generation? And so the way they honored men, it's in how they died. And so these men gloried in suffering. They gloried in tribulation. They gloried in pains. They gloried in witnessing for God. In fact, the Bible said in Acts chapter 15 verse 26, it said Paul and Barnabas. It said, these be the men that hazarded their lives for the gospel. Now, the gospel we are teaching now is the gospel of self-preservation, self-security, self-aggrandizement, and self-glorification. That's why we don't have power. In the early church, they were willing to die any day, anytime. In fact, they called it a gain. To die is gain. That's how they reason. But the only reason they are able to operate like that is because they found a peace that surpasses knowledge. And that peace is the river of God. And so you will arrest a Peter that you want to kill him, and you will think he will beg. And Peter will tell you, please, when you crucify me, don't put my head up. I don't want to be like my master. He said, when you crucify me, turn it downward. I'm not qualified to be placed where my master was placed. How can somebody be arrested to be murdered, and instead of praying to God to save him, he will not? I heard the story of Jan Hus. Him and his son were to be born to the stake. And a night before that time, the soldiers came to them and they found them celebrating. You and your only son is about to be born tomorrow. If it's our contemporary world, what you'll be thinking of doing is, God, if you will not deliver me, at least let my son escape. I don't want my name to end. The people were celebrating, and what the soldiers heard them say was that tomorrow we will set Rome on fire. They thought they wanted to burn them. Meanwhile, they said they will set Rome on fire. And when they wanted to burn the man, he didn't beg. What he said was that, today you have born one goose. It's 100 years later, there will be a swarm of geese. That means this one man you are killing today, the witness he will generate will become 100 men in the years to come. And according to his prophecy, 100 years later, Martin Luther rose. Because they don't die. Their witnesses are eternal. And the reason they have that kind of witness is because they have a peace that you can't take from them. I read about Polycarp, the bishop of Smyrna. They came to arrest him, to kill him. He was 86 years old. An old man should look for where to rest. And they told him, this is a way for you to escape. He said, no. I've done every other thing I should do for my master. This is the only witness that is remaining. And when they arrested him, they came. He said, no, they shouldn't worry. He will go with them. Sit down. He entertained them. When they finished eating, he said, let's go. And when they carried him away, they told him to deny Jesus. They will leave him. He said, 86 years. He has been faithful to me. How can I deny him? And when they butchered them, they were singing hymns to the God of Zion. What kind of assurance is that? That's why Paul said, if only in this life we have hope, we are of all men most miserable. There are many Christians today, they think they are doing well, they are miserable because they are afraid of death. They have not found that assurance that is stronger than death. But when you enter the presence of God, there's a river that flows into your spirit. It makes you become like Mount Zion that cannot be moved. I read the story of Perpetua and Felicity. Pregnant princess was about to be killed. And they said the child is innocent. So they gave her 3 months to give birth. In 3 months, she didn't plan to escape. In 3 months, she was waiting for the day where she too will be honored enough to be a martyr. Because they saw martyrdom as the greatest honor in the kingdom. That's why James 1:12 said, even if we were beheaded, he said we will receive the crown of life. So to them, Martyrdom was an honor. What kind of peace is that? It is a peace that surpasses knowledge. It's a peace that surpasses understanding. And this was the texture of witness that the early church brought. And true to what the people said, it was not a bluff. 3 days after she gave birth, they brought them to the arena naked. Do you know the pains a woman feels after giving birth? She is literally full of injuries. There was no time to recover. And they were carrying wild lions, beasts. They say you have one choice: to deny Jesus and go free. If it's our word now, we will say we are intelligent. We will say we'll deny him and ask for forgiveness later. Because God is a forgiving God. Because that's the kind of forgiveness we were taught. Somebody met me and said, even if I fornicate today, God will forgive me. He doesn't know the judge. He only knows the Father. He doesn't know the judge. That God is a just recompense. Every action and every witness has a reward in Zion. These men were more concerned of eternity. That's why Paul said, our light afflictions are for a moment. Do you know what Paul called a light affliction? Is to be flogged 39 strokes 4 times. That's a light affliction to Paul. Is to be stoned to death and to rise up. Is to be imprisoned 3 times. That's a light affliction. Why did he call it a light affliction? He said they work for us an exceeding weight of glory. Why? He said, why we look not at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. He said the things which are seen, they are temporal. That means the prison is temporal. The embarrassment is temporal. The 39 stroke is temporal. There was a time Paul fell into the water. And Paul was in the ocean for 1.5 days. They forgot him. They thought he would die. Paul said, 1.5 days I was in the deep. But when they brought him out, the man had become aquatic. He can't die. And they tore these women apart with white beasts. You would think the church would be afraid. But when they hear that those ones did not deny Jesus, their faith is strengthened. So the reason the gospel came to you and I is not because of theologians. It's because of martyrs. Men that know peace that cannot be defined. Peace that cannot be explained. This kind of peace, you are not taught it. You experience it as a river in the presence of God. The generation we have today that does not know the presence of God, they will deny Jesus 1,001 times. That's why people are denying Jesus on their job. Say, I'm a police officer. If I don't bring the bribe, I will lose my job. And so what? What is your job compared to eternity? Somebody comes and tells you, I don't have anything to eat. That's why I became a harlot. You are not a Christian. You were not taught correctly. Go and find out about the early church. It was an honor to be hungry for Jesus. The Bible said when the disciples were beaten, he said they returned to their company and they were giving thanks to God that they have been found worthy to be flogged for Jesus. All we know is in our brain. We are not witnesses. And it's because we've not drank of that water. The Bible said there's a river that flows from the throne of God. It said the streams, it maketh glad the city of God. There's a joy that surpasses knowledge. It is in the presence that you are introduced into that economy. That's where you will no longer bother what men say. Jesus said, blessed art thou when men persecute you for my name's sake. Because a blessing is not only a car. A blessing can also be persecution. If you understand reality from Zion. But for you to call it a blessing, you must have drank of that water. There's a water that is served to those who come to the presence. That's why they become like Mount Zion that cannot be moved. I fear for our generation. Intelligent, full of lingo and drama and charisma, but there is no stamina in the presence. Myself in God's presence. I read a scripture that got me afraid. Jesus was praying. The Bible said Satan desired to have Peter, and Jesus prayed for him. And he came to Peter and said, Simon, Simon. Luke 22:41. He says Satan desires to have you, to sift you like wheat. He said, but I've prayed for you that your faith faileth not. He said, when thou art recovered, strengthen thy brethren. And then I saw that Satan came for Judas. And the same Jesus who prayed for Peter didn't pray for Judas. And rather Jesus told Judas, that which you must do, do quickly. For a long time, I said, where is the justice? Until the Holy Ghost reminded me that when a man's heart becomes evil, God can't help him. Because Satan entered his heart. The same thing happened to Ananias. Peter said, why have you allowed Satan enter your heart? He said, he fell down and died. And so what I feared was that it's possible, because Jesus told the disciples, he said, you will sit with me on 12 thrones to judge the 12 tribes of Israel. And now discovered it's possible for you to live on earth and forgo and forfeit what was planned for you in eternity. Because Judas' destiny was to sit on a throne with Jesus as a judge forever and ever. But he lost it. And so I told God, everything you designed for me to be, I must be. And the only way to do that is to stay enough in God's presence until the light comes to show you your destiny. Until the fire comes to intensify your spirit. Until the sound comes to quicken you. Until the coals come to purify you. Until the waters come to give you peace. Else you will never fulfill destiny. And the final thing I will touch, I can't talk about life, is that there are crystals in God's presence. Those are the secrets of God. In Revelation 4:3, it says, when I saw him, he was clothed with jasper and sardine. So the secrets of God are locked. And the symbol of those secrets are crystals. So if they are not open, you can't see it. And what the crystals come to do is to humble you. That's why I said the secret of God is with them that fear him. Psalm 25 verse 14, he said he will show them his covenant. And so when a man is not humble and broken, he can't know about God. You don't know about God by reading a textbook. You can teach intelligently about healing and pride yourself in your knowledge. You cannot heal headache. Because the ability to heal sickness is a secret. The healing theology can be intellectual, but the healing itself is a secret. And so after you have read, it will take God to reveal to you the secret of healing. So the way God designed it is that you cannot pride about spiritual knowledge. You will humble yourself into it. Because spiritual knowledge are locked up. The crystal is a sign of mysteries. That spiritual things are locked. You cannot break into them. You can only be allowed into them. And so the 6 things you find in God's presence are crystals. So you can stand in front of a reality and you will never know it. Until the crystals is allowed to open to you. That's when you can read the oracles of God. And so the presence of God humbles men. The presence of God breaks men. When you find a man who truly meets God, he is humble and broken. Every proud man is a theologian. He's an intellectual. He doesn't know God. A man who has seen God, the first thing that will happen to him is that he will fall like a dead man. Ezekiel saw God, he fell like a dead man. Daniel saw God, he fell like a dead man. John saw God, he fell like a dead man. Nobody sees him and remains proud. If you see him, you will break. A contrite heart and a broken spirit, thou, O Lord, shall not despise. So what causes God to open his oracles to you is the state of brokenness. And so what the presence of God will do for you is that it will break you. Arrogance does not exist there, because only one king must be worshipped. His name is the I am that I am. Is the ancient of days. There is none like him. When we come before him, all of us become like chaff. That's why even the 24 elders, they fall from their throne and they cast their crown, because there's only one excellent majesty on high. Is the God of Zion. And if you come to the presence, one of the things you'll be taught is that only God should be exalted.